Right now, we're trying to work out, will the US enter the war against Iran? In addition to that, we've got billions of passwords leaked, so you need to update those. And Bitcoin is going sideways, but it's potentially going to go up due to M2. Let's dive in. The first thing is the Fed Chair, Jerome Powell, says the economy is in a solid position. The rates did not change. In addition, this is basically the summary here. It's a great summary as per normal. Fed lowers 2025 GDP estimate to 1.4%. Inflation is here, and forecasts of a rate cut later in 2025, with further ones happening in 2026. Interest rates futures increase the likelihood of rate cuts beginning in September. The Fed pause continues even as Trump calls for 100 basis points rate cut. So 1% is what he's calling for. Now, what Trump has said is if Israel does a good job, we will not need to fight. Now, what the Supreme Leader, and this is his official Twitter account here, the Supreme Leader of Iran, what he's saying is the harm the US will suffer will definitely be irreparable if they enter this conflict militarily, which is quite an antagonistic thing to say, of course. They've been invaded as well. In general, though, like the market is not pricing in war. Trump is not a typical person, and his administration is unlikely to go unless like properly prompted. So there is some greenery, there is a bit of recovery in the markets. What we can see is that although we're down, of course, war news is going to push markets down. It's just I didn't believe, and nothing's financial advice, that it was a safe time to short because oil prices were not skyrocketing. So we can see there's a little bit of movement in 24 hours. Some are going up quite a bit, but the ones that have been running really hard, SPX, Filecoin, even Hype, have dropped quite a bit in the last 7 days. But overall, they are still basically up. You can see when we overlay M2 supply here that we are starting to move on up. Of course, we'll go over the trend line in a second. And M2 is one thing, but if there's a war happening, that's another thing. What we want to do is what we want to see is we want to see that we stay above this 50-day SMA, because we covered it before, but when we go under, price goes down. When we stay above it, price sideways or goes up. When we have a look at all of our support levels and resistance, obviously we want to get up here and we want to get up here. We cover these levels, but they're important kind of longer term. But we have this breakdown right now, and we've come above it. So when we come above it, it's rejected before. This would be potentially our rejection level, and we're currently coming up. Like there's a little bit of movement here, but like it's an uncertain time. Like we need to see what's happening in the Middle East for sure before like really jumping in. If we have a look at this, let this load, we can see that Hype has broken down slightly. And if it does fall down here, these will be buying opportunities for sure. But like it's only fallen down ever so slightly. I think it's all basically relating to the fact that we could be going to war. Nothing fundamentally has changed with Hyperliquid. However, competition is coming, and we'll be covering the competition for sure. When we have a look at Bitcoin with Katoshi settings, we can see we've just flashed green. We've come red, and you really need to catch it quite early. If it goes down too much, you have to use other systems to work out if you should enter or not. But we've just gone green. So you could potentially see this as an entry. You may want to wait for another confirmation. And remember this method has around about a 90%, 80 to 90% success rate. Fair and greedy, we've been neutral for the last few days, or relatively neutral. This says it's slightly greedy, but basically neutral. In terms of liquidations, we've had a quiet market, and we've got longs and shorts pretty equal. Right now, like the market makers can move whatever they want, but there's not as much euphoria or fear in the market, so I don't think it's necessarily going to move one way or the other too much. This, of course, could allow you to have a bit of fun, just concentrate some fees on Meteor, if that's your jam. We can see here that price could move up potentially to take out some of these shorts when we have a look at Sol, but overall, like it's a bit quiet from what I'm observing. The token that we do have our eye on, and it's higher risk, of course, but it's useless. This is something that's been talked about quite a few times. People have asked me to cover it, but like it's a risky play, but it's proving to be less risky. And we have mentioned it before as well. And essentially this could break out quite a bit further. There's more interest coming in. The bond guy is often right. We go over that all the time. If you're not following him, sad for your meme coins. But this is a fourth post about useless from CoinDesk, the world's largest crypto publication, 48 hours. This time around, they're calling it South Korea's new favorite token and the next XRP. They earlier called it crypto's newest meme coin cult. The level of focus and attention on useless by the world's top crypto publication is too significant to ignore. I'm calling again useless coin is the next breakout meme coin. I have purchased some. You can only long it on MEXC. Otherwise, just it's a buy spot. It's on the Solana blockchain, so you can put this into a bid ask. You can put it into a spot on Meteor if you want some fees as well. Potentially, there'll be a Kraken listing. That won't necessarily move the needle too much, but it can move the needle a little bit. You can see they've got a Kraken affiliate badge, so they work. I imagine they work at he's BD, and I don't know what he does, but connected to Kraken. Does the token look useless to you? It looks so useless that I bet you it's useful. So that could be a little bit of inside alpha there. Moving on to South Korean authorities submitting a spot crypto ETF approval. So this is going on here. We'll have to wait and see if these crypto ETFs start being pushed in other countries. But I still don't think retail's here. I don't think the cycle's over. I think it's going to be quite fun. There's a big update on Jupe pausing the DAO voting to focus on Jupiter and Jupiterverse. There's a good thread out by Lockie. I'll link it below as well. We won't cover it now. We want to keep this news nice and short. But essentially, you stake your dupe, you're going to get active staking rewards, even if you're not actually voting, because there will be no votes for the rest of this year. Essentially, the FUD has been too big. The price of dupe has gone down too much. And essentially, the team needs to just ship like new things to be like competitive, because it is honestly really hard. I don't want this to be snipped or taken out of context, but it's very hard to go against Hyperliquid and the upcoming Fogo chain, which I'm very bullish on. Juperps does not compete on this level. That's due to limitations of their tech as well as Solana's tech. And those things will be solved. But that tokenomics, the revenue side of things, quite a few things, that needs to be the focus of the team, which should translate to value going into the Jupe token, as opposed to it's not really running the DAO, it's guiding the DAO, but it's Meow's mission, essentially. And this mission for all this transparency, I don't think he realizes that he's smart. I think he knows that, but he's smart, and the average person is not super, super smart. And it just doesn't really work out. Plus, there's a whole lot of FUD. We can go over in another video. The point is, right now, I'm happy with my dupe. If the price is low, I'm not buying more. I'm happy with what I've got. It's staked. I'll get the rewards, and we'll have to reevaluate what they're going to do, because DAOs are not the perfect example yet of coordinated community. Pulse No Limits will start shipping very, very soon. I believe it in July. So July 31st and August 15th. So I'm excited for this. I'm using one of these, which is like a Kudus ring. Just using it just because I think it's cool to try stuff. But I'm more excited for this sort of thing. I think it's a better idea. We'll have a referral link below. I've ordered a couple. Hopefully I get them soon. Clout is a new thing that we briefly touched on maybe last week. And what it is talking about incentives between creator coins and like fees and dumping and liquidity and whatnot. It's coming soon. I think it's worth a follow now. It's connected to Meteor. And I reckon there's anti-snipe, it's pre-sale, it's all sorts of things. I think it's a pretty cool idea. So keep this in mind. Slow points out that NFTs have been dying and the volume is getting brutally low. I mentioned a couple of days ago, maybe last week, that Lucas said maybe pre-sale or NFTs in general are just like a fundraising stage for a project early on. So if you see something hyped and it has maybe potential to get an airdrop or something like that, I think that's a good use case for NFTs. Anything else right now, I'm not seeing it, and hence they kind of die. I do want, of course, games to do well, like DeFi Dungeons, but the market is not saying that they will do well. Magic Eden Community, Puppeteer Grim, give him a follow, give this a follow. Not bullish on the ME price or anything like that, or don't really like the token, but if you are, or if you like to do community stuff, or whatever, get a grant, they have 5 million ME in the fund for this community fund. So I think that's a good start in the right direction. And this is the unfortunate news, but it's a good time to up your security. 16 billion Apple, Facebook, Google, and other passwords leaked. Act now. I have no referral skin in the game with this, but if you have a look at our Fogies Hub channel, which you should be following, and quick, proper shill. Fogle chain is the thing I'm most bullish on this cycle. Most bullish on. Like, just hands down, most bullish on. So keep that in mind. We're putting out some content. This is one password tutorial. Check this one out, because get this, set up passkeys with stuff, and change your passwords. That's everything. That's your actionable. Just as a bit of a sum up, I'm not leveraging here. I've entered into a useless position. I'm watching how things unfold in Iran. I'm hoping that things de-escalate. They're just tweets after all. Trump and Elon Musk can prove that you can go and tweet something and kind of take it back. So I'm hoping things kind of drop down a notch. But I'm not a geopolitical expert, and I have to just see how this plays out. Meanwhile, M2's increasing, so that's kind of bullish. And we have seen a little bit of a lift in the market. But right now, your action was go and look after your security. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next one.